All right, in this lesson, lesson 6, we are going to look at rational expressions, and we're going to keep simplifying them. But this time, we're going to throw a wrench in. We're going to look at stuff that's a little more complex, and most of them will have trinomials. And what happens when we've got a trinomial? It means we're going to do our favorite thing on the whole planet. We're going to factor. I know you love that. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's start at something like this. X squared minus 6x plus 8 over x squared plus 2x minus 24. So I want to remind you what not to do. Don't let the fact that you see a 6 and a 2 here, you cannot cancel those two things out. You can't say 6 divided by 2. That won't work. The reason is all of these are operators. These are addition and subtraction signs. You cannot cancel things out when they're being added or subtracted. A number must be factored out first, or it must be common in every coefficient. So for that reason, we are going to look at this and we're going to see that we've got quadratic functions here. These are x squared. Because these are polynomials or trinomials, we know we can factor them. So we can ask ourselves what two numbers multiply to 8 and add to negative 6. So the answer to that is, start with your brackets, put out your x's. What two numbers multiply to 8 and add to negative 6? So that's going to be negative 4 and negative 2. And in the denominator, same situation, another polynomial. Ask yourself the best way to factor it. In this case, we're going to look for two numbers that multiply to negative 24 and add to 2. And that's going to be two brackets, x's. We're going to have, let's see, factors of 24 are 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. So 4 and 6 are probably our best bet. And we're going to say plus 6 minus 4, because that would give us negative 2. So now, over here, now that we've factored this, we're going to look over here and we're going to see if we have two brackets that are the same in the top and the bottom. We have a negative 4 in both, so they will cancel out. If a bracket appears in the top and the bottom, it can cancel out. All that's left is x minus 2 over x plus 6. And that is our simplified expression. Let's try another one. What if we have this? 9x plus 9 over x squared plus 8x plus 7. Okay, so this one looks a little bit different. This is not a quadratic, so we're not going to be able to factor the same way we just did. But what we can do is take out a common factor here. We can take out a 9. Now, 9x divided by 9 leaves us x. Don't let this get you. 9 divided by 9 leaves us plus 1. Remember, if you distributed that back, you'd get 9x plus 9. All right, in the denominator, we do have a trinomial here. We're going to ask ourselves what two numbers, we don't have a common factor. So we're going to ask ourselves what two numbers multiply to 7 and add to 8. And that's going to be 7 and 1. So x plus 7 times x plus 1. Again, do we have a bracket that appears in the top and the bottom? We do, x plus 1. So we'll cancel that out. All that's left is 9 over x plus 7. Simplified, and we're done. All right, let's look at one last example. Let's say we have x squared plus 2x over x squared minus 4. So this top one looks, it's quadratic. It's not a trinomial though. So instead we're going to have to take out a common factor. So what is common to x squared and 2x? And the answer is x. So if I divide both terms by x squared divided by x is x. 2x divided by x is 2. In the denominator, again, quadratic, but it doesn't have anything common, so it doesn't immediately appear that there's something I can do. Ah, but there is. What is this? It's difference of squares. Tricky. X squared is a perfect square and 4 is a perfect square, and they're subtracting. So we know that when we factor difference of squares, the square root of x is x and the square root of 4 is 2. So we're going to have x plus 2, x minus 2. And now, look and see if you have matching brackets. You do? You can cancel those out. You're left with x over x minus 2. I want to point this out one more time. The x here and the x in the denominator cannot be canceled. You cannot cancel these. They're not in brackets. This x has a subtraction with it. They cannot be canceled. So this is your final answer. Okay, I think that covers it. We're good. Good job.